video. So this is from the Safe and Sound event, and I ended up buying some bundles too. So the bundles are gonna have lots of dupes. I've been playing for a while, so I've unlocked a lot of the Transformers already, so this is probably gonna go on for a while. I will try my best to keep you guys entertained, but there's gonna be lots and lots of dupes. I think pretty much I have all the Decepticon 2 stars, except for I think like 2 bots that got released not too long ago. I think one of the guys was a collagen. I know I'm saying that wrong, because it's not, you know, a person who can go out to the store and buy like the powder to, you know, add to their diet if they're, you know, lacking certain nutrition, not collagen. But he's that new Seacon that came out. So this was one of 33 more clicks. That's how much it's gonna take. So I'm estimating this video itself is probably gonna take like 40 minutes. And if I had to guess, I'm gonna get 2 Decepticons. Here's hoping that they're 4 stars, but I'm not entirely sure. What's been happening as you play the game more and more, you have stronger units. So at one point when I like started years ago, I tried my best to just make it an even amount of groups. So you know, you have like 14 different teams. So I had 7 and 7 for the longest time. Then as the teams got stronger and I started getting combiners, I started having more Autobots, because on this account, Autobot is my name. Currently right now, I think I have 11 teams that are over 19,000 in strength, so they can do those zones accordingly. I think they're zone 13s. So ever since then, I really haven't been playing my Decepticons that much. And honestly, when you get to that level, those players have a combiner the majority of the time, and to be at that level, you're going to have spider mines. So to play those matches, it's not that it's hard. Typically, especially say if you have a combiner and it's just like a strong opponent, you typically will send something in to activate the outpost, and then the strategy is to bring out the combiner. So whoever you activate, whether it's a combiner or the outpost bots of your opponent, they're gonna, you know, activate their special, and when you activate your combiner, it misaligns their shooting of that special. So I think my strongest Decepticon team is only 1500, because I can't go too much higher than 1500 without a good combiner with me. That one, to me, it's not worth continually trying to make that team stronger if there's going to be like a bad win-loss. When you're playing this, what you want is, of course, to win and get all that XP and get those, you know, alloy and energy. But in the case that, you know, you're losing more than winning, it's not worth it. So again, because I don't have, or we can't have our alts have combiners, there's no reason for me to go too crazy with the Decepticon group. I, of course, am just, you know, generally playing them and getting them stronger, but I think I only have one 1500 group, and the second strongest team I think is like 1200. So I'd rather just, you know, leave that as open so I can swing back to more Autobots, or use them as like just as an extra group, nothing too crazy. So now you can kind of see that I haven't gotten a bot in a while, and we're only 5 minutes in. So over the next 30 minutes, we're just gonna keep seeing these. Why are dupes important? To new players, it tends to be very frustrating. And when I started, trust me, I was annoyed that I would constantly get dupes. And what was happening was I was getting more bots, and I was like, well, why am I getting more dupes when there's so many other ones out there? There's so many 3 stars and 4 stars. But as I started collecting more of them, I started realizing, hey, wait a second, I can't run every match with Sentius Magnus, for instance, right? To me, he's one of the strongest bots. But because, he can only be used once in one group without coining, him to fight again, the best thing is, of course, getting another bot stronger. So you need all those cores and spark to make these guys stronger. So now these days, I don't buy a pack because I know it's going to be full of dupes. I will buy a pack when I see a value to it. This weekend had the movie, I think it's like, what, 35 years now? Or not, right? 1986 is when the movie came out. Well, it's the anniversary month of the movie coming out in theaters. When I say the movie, I mean, Transformers, the animated movie. So Space Ape made some bundles, and in those bundles had 5-star shards. And you were limited to one. So I don't know exactly what particularly, kind of triggered me to buying them. I think it's because it said limited one, and I was like, ooh, here we go. Let me just buy them because who knows when something like that will come around again. It's a marketing technique, it's a sales technique, and it worked on me. So I went and bought it, and then I ended up with what you can see right here is 100 of the quintessent chests. And inside here are supposed to be, I believe, 5-star shards, but I'm going to find out because we also got these from the event itself. We didn't get that many, and I didn't open any of them because I know there's chances to get certain prizes, and we're going to find out what those are in another video. Unfortunately, this video particularly is just the premium chests. And just like I said a long time ago, I know I only have a few Decepticons that I'm missing, so I know I'm not going to really get any new ones. And the ones that I are missing, the ones that I am missing, they are just like the newer guys that were introduced recently. I said that name wrong in the beginning, and there's going to be a couple more. What I might do in a separate video is probably after unlocking these chests, I'll probably just go through it really quick and see what I'm missing. On top of that, I know what's going to end up happening is, after all these chests are done, I have to go back into see what I've unlocked. There's going to be a lot of 3 stars, a lot of 4 stars. If I'm lucky, there's 2 5-stars. That's a hope. But let's see. This game is going to have some type of, I don't want to call it an evolution, but something's going to happen soon where you're going to need stronger bots, right? I mean, we know that HQ18 is coming. So it's like, hey, I can't bring 3 stars all the way there, right? I mean, 3 stars have a max of level 60. The 4 stars and 5 stars go to 65. If I'm looking at it, right, does that mean, hey, if the 3 stars have a cap and the 4 stars have a cap, the 5 stars are, also they do have a cap, but are they going to increase the 5-star and 4-star cap, or just the 5-star? If they're just increasing the 5-star cap, I mean, that means people have to get more 5 stars, right? And you can only go into, HQ 18 type boards with 5 stars? That don't seem right. But that looks like the projection. Unless if they increase the level caps of all of them, we have to at least expect they'll increase the level cap of the 5s. They'll bring the 4s over. Because even getting the 4s is hard, right? And you get 4-star combiners. So those are supposed to be really strong. So I can't see them limiting certain things when it comes to, making the game harder. You have to, adjust difficulty settings and also kind of adjust the game, evolve the game to match what you want to do.
Megatron.
Now this is only the first week of the saga, so we don't know what other Transformers are coming. I know, depending on when you watch this, usually they send out the newsletters on Wednesdays, so we at least have a certain expectation. And it looks like the routine has been, individual events and team totalizers, and to a point that kind of like leadership boards. It may not be what it used to be, and thank God it's fingers crossed it's never going to go back to what it used to be. I think they did like a weird cost analysis to, hey, those top 10 teams that are able to score over like 4 million score means that they're coining heavy. They have to buy to maintain that. They probably just weighed out and said those 10 teams, right? For example, right? So those 10 teams, so that's 400 people, right? They do obviously spend a lot to maintain that. And this even holds true with, like the outside of leadership boards, right? When you go into ranking and you see those top 10, top 25 teams, that's not only based on how strong they are, right? Because say if you, have all 4 stars capped at 65, that team shouldn't be getting any stronger, right? But when you start buying stuff like the packs and the fuel when the events come around, it adds on to your team, right? Like you bought the packs, got stronger, excuse me, not stronger, you got more cores and spark to make the existing guys stronger. So they have to spend money to maintain a high level. I myself, like when it comes to me, I'm not at that level, like I'm not in the top 100, top 50, top 25, I'm not there. I'm a little afraid if I ever got there, I would be doing this, because initially I was a free-to-play person, where I'm like, I'm not going to put a penny into it, and then the more I played the game, I'm like, oh, okay, I think it's worth it to, put a little money in the game that you play the most. And then just over the years, it snowballed, I'll admit that, but it's still the game I play the most, and I do love it. And I'm not saying that people who are pay to win, you should look at them any differently. There's a couple of ways to look at this type of stuff, like it's a free-to-play game, but people who do like put time into this game. Not the players themselves. Say like the company's facing. They have employees that have to get paid, and making it a really good game completely free, they would never get paid, right? It's like how could they maintain that? How can they sustain that? So I'm not too crazy about how it's consumables like of this nature, plus the gacha mechanic, but it works. And every time they come up with something that makes you want to play the game more, they're doing a great job. They're doing the right job. One of those things. I'm gonna get rid of these messages. So if you guys are looking really quick, not so much at the message, it's what this setup is. I'm playing Transformers on my laptop. That's why you saw a message just come up. See, we're not even halfway done. We're about 15 minutes into the video, and I am not halfway done with the opening of the chests. Now, so at some point in this video, you probably were wondering why I bought the Decepticon pack. It was 2 reasons, right? One was, I think I said it a little bit earlier, when it came to the bundles themselves, they were limited. They were limited to just that weekend. For as much as we know, it may or may not come back in the future, but from what we saw, it was very specific to the movie anniversary, and those limited edition ones had 5-star shards. So I posted to the families that I am a part of, because I have a Decepticon group and an Autobot group. I posed the question to them. I was like, hey, because there's 5-star shards, and if you bought both sides, and I'm not sure what currency you guys have, but it's a $10 pack, a $20 pack, a $40 pack, and a $100 pack. And when you add all those up, that's about 170 bucks. So was $170 worth? And when you added up the shards that they immediately came with, it was about, if I remember right, it was like $760. I'm probably wrong on it. But it turned into, it's like, hey, is it worth it? And pretty much, like it turned into like, hey, let's ignore that question. Like let's add the math and just give him the option type of thing. And any sane person would say, hey, wait a second. $170 for consumables in a free-to-play game on mobile with a gacha mechanic, it's not worth it. Like you can probably go to Steam or Xbox or PlayStation or Switch. Use that same money, buy multiple games. There's value there. But the way they made Transformers, I play it every day. I can't say I play console games every day. It's easier for me to do a 3-minute match over, like multiple hours in the day, because I can 3-minute match is really easy. I can do 2 of those or 3 of those. My other favorite games, they tend to become something that's harder to, I don't want to say invest in, right? It's easy to sit down and play, but then some of those games you tend to have long stints of. So for me, it's easier to play a 3.5-minute game and multiple sessions versus, say, like a 20-minute multiplayer game with multiple sessions. That one's harder to walk away from. Certain, like, you can look at like some JRPGs, like a lot of the Final Fantasy games, you can easily spend 40, 50, 60 hours into that one game before walking away from it. When I used to play Final Fantasy X, the main quest was probably under 40 hours, but both those games I put 120 hours each into, and when I walked away from it, I was done with it. And in some places, is that the right way to do it? Like, there's no obsession. It's like you watched a movie and you never thought about it again, or you watched a series that only had like one season, and that's the end of it. Which one has more value? I think that's a little subjective. It works differently for different people, and for me, it's better for me to play this game, like I said, 3.5 minutes, multiple times a day, and it's obviously it's on mobile, so I can play it anywhere. Meanwhile, like playing like a console game or even a PC game, you're stuck in a place for a long time, and that's originally how it was meant to be, right? Like, they wanted to, when they made video games, it was trying to outdo that, sitting in front of the TV for watching a movie experience. And then somehow I don't want to say the industry, but it changed. Because, obviously it changed because there was a dollar value associated with it. But, when mobile games started, it was trying to figure out how to get somebody's attention away from the console. And, if you look back at 2007, for example, like when the first iPhone came out, those game graphics, no. You'd be like, why would I ever play this? And the excuse was, well, you're only paying it for a few minutes. It's a supplemental to other forms of entertainment. But now, it's been 15 years, and so much time investment was given from all these video game companies to figure out how they can get a person who uses, who has their mobile devices on them all the time, how do they take advantage of that? And, like, a lot of things go along with it, right? Like, how long are you going to stay on a tiny screen? So if you're only there for short stints, they were like, let's try to monetize that a little bit. So how do we get a person, addicted and coming back for more for those small amounts of time? And this is a perfect example of it. 3.5-minute matches, and you don't even need a real-time opponent, or even the greatest connection. As long as it connects to your opponent's base long enough to to download back to your device, boom, you get that match. Megatron. And if if you look at the times correctly, I think people tell me about this game called Clash Clans. They say that they use the same mechanics, but like certain game mechanics are kind of like a template. So you'll see other games use certain things. It's just what makes certain games stand out. And it's easy for me to say how Transformers stands out. I grew up on the G1 cartoon, so immediately, even before I played the game, I saw these videos, 6 years ago when the game came out, and I was like, hello, that's kind of what I remember. Small liberties. Then started playing the game, and it was like, hey, wait a second, it's not a separate universe type of thing, right? It was, it's that weird multiverse thing that everyone goes through right now. It's not the exact G1 that we watched. It's not that exact universe. but it resembles it enough and references it enough that makes you feel like, hey, wait a second, this is familiar, this is what I used to know. Then when you add to the fact that now I'm a grown-up who can go out and work and have the ability to purchase these bundles so I can catch up to people who've been playing longer or differently than me, it almost feels like they designed this game for people in my situation. And the people who aren't in my situation, it's like, hey, it's free to play. Like you'll hear so many rhymes, reasons, and excuses to how they do games. And if you watch some of the streams, you will occasionally catch a person who tries to trash the monetization method, or the way that bundles cost an arm and a leg. And coming from like the consoles, where at one point it was you bought a game at a set price and that was it, and then the industry changed, right? Then there was DLC, then there was consumables, and it was like I'd want to like yell at how we had to buy horse armor that didn't do anything, but right away they saw it, right? It was like somebody bought it, and if somebody's willing to do that, they may be willing to buy something else. And it just went out of control. And the biggest companies right now, they don't look at the main game as their main source of revenue. They look at games that they can institute a gotcha mechanic. Nothing we can do about it. The only thing, or let me rephrase that a little bit. It's not that we can't do anything about it. It's always going to be, money makes things happen. So if we don't give money, if we don't buy things, then those same, vendors, manufacturers, companies have to figure out something else. With Transformers Earth Wars being around for 6 years now, their monetization model won't change. Similar to how you see how console games have changed, right? Like if you look at the 2K series, at one point that was, hey, buy this game at $60, and then it turned into, buy it at $70, and there's the gotcha mechanic. So it's not even free to play in gotcha mechanic, it's spend the full amount and then gotcha mechanic. So there's no way to change the industry without, or I'm sorry, the only way you can change the industry is not paying for certain things, and that would show when the time comes and they make the next version of this game, Earth Wars 2. They somehow have to help existing players move forward in the game. Because it's going to be really hard to explain to a player that spent, whether it's $10 or $10,000, it's like, hey, we're not bringing that game forward, and if we're closing the servers, you don't get anything back, And by no means am I saying Space Ape was the first one to do that. That's been around well before that. But just like a good series you used to watch, there's a good chance that when it's over, either you move on, like if they said tomorrow, this game server are going to close, and Hasbro said that they're not going to renew their license, or whatever the reason. It's not going to happen, but say if that were to happen, that would make a lot of people sad, but they'd move on. Will they follow the next game? Who knows? They gotta find that, that niche. They have to find what attracts them, and then also somehow evolve it, right? They couldn't make the second one just the same exact thing with better graphics, right? They'd have to do something better to not only keep the existing player base, but to grow that player base. And Like, if all of a sudden they told me nothing's being carried over, like, that'd be the end of me. You know, like, hey, wait a second, all my years of playing this and that happens, I wouldn't want to continue. So I think it's going to be just one more 10 opening. And then what I'm going to end up doing is doing another video for the Autobot one. And then I'm going to do a separate video for opening more crystals from that. Possibly not the 4 stars. I have a lot of the 4 stars, as I mentioned before, so they're just going to be more dupes. I'll record it and see, though. If they're dupes, I won't upload it. If there's actually 1 or 2 that actually open, I'll upload that. But I'm only gonna, you know, choose Autobot 4 stars. I'll get some, you know, 3-star Decepticons, but I mean, based on all 340 turning into all dupes, 100% of them were dupes. Right? I didn't get one Transformer. I have to wait for the guys that I didn't get to turn into crystals. And who knows when those guys are going to be released. I'm assuming when the next bot is released sometime this month. But that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for staying for 30 minutes, if you were still here. And I will post the next one, the Autobot crystal cracking, soon. Hope to see you guys there. Thanks for watching.